What do you dream about? I dream about why American bankers haven't been going to jail for the crisis they've caused. In many other countries, the CEOs and directors have been held responsible for their actions in causing this global economic crisis. For example, in Iceland and in Germany, many of the directors and CEOs of their major banks have been sent to jail. So, what's the difference? One of the major differences is the differences in law. America says that they have struggled to connect the corruption in the lower levels to the actions of the higher levels. Unfortunately, it is also not illegal to run your company into the ground because you are making bad decisions. So therefore, it's hard to pin corruption when it could just be incompetency. Therefore, American CEOs and directors can plead stupidity, essentially. There's also a difference in political will. Pretty much it just seems that America does not seem to really care about convicting its bankers. There's also a difference in philosophy. For example, in Brazil, it is illegal, even if you are not being engaged in criminal activity, to run your bank into the ground, and the CEOs are fined personally. However, this violates American philosophy of free market as well as personal freedoms. You simply can't convict someone simply on negligence, even if they cause an economic crisis. And most important in some Americans' minds is that the American philosophy condemns putting people in jail for honest decisions made but that were wrong. You can't lock people up for negligence, but regulations should be more steep.
Oh, hey, Catherine. Geez, way to interrupt my killer meditating on how to be even a larger slagger in Mr. Hammond's class. Did you know that Daniel McFadden from UC Berkeley is proposing a new way to look at our current economics? He says that right now, economists look at the general person that makes up the economy, all of us, as like this very profit-driven, systematic, individual that is just follows a certain set of rules and always performs how it's anticipated that it will perform. And he has dubbed this unrealistic expectation of the general person as Homo economicus. And he says that what we need to do now is combine our current economic approach with other disciplines such as neuroscience, psychology, anthropology, to give us a more well-rounded image of the people that make up our economy. Current economists rely on the idea that humans have fixed preferences, right? That they'll always gravitate towards one thing rather than another. But research has shown lately that actually preferences are a lot more fluid in manner and can change with a lot of different circumstances. So Daniel McFadden is suggesting that we need to look more into decision making as economists rather than just simple black and white economy.
You find yourself lacking motivation? Well, we have a product for you, the Shock Watch. Just program your exercises and workouts into it, and it will shock you until you do them. I don't know.
Today, Apple's CEO was called before a Senate panel in order to determine whether they have been evading taxes or not. Pretty much the deal is that Apple, a multinational corporation, is taxing its subsidiaries in other countries such as Ireland less than the US tax rate. This is advantageous to Apple because if the tax rates are lower in different countries, then they save that much more on taxes. The main issue right now is that in 2011, their pre-tax income in Ireland was 64% of its total revenue, but Ireland is only 1% of its consumers. So basically that means that Apple is using a tax loophole in order to save a bunch of money. It is estimated that they saved $7.7 billion in 2011 that would have been potential tax revenue for the United States. Obviously, Congress is a little upset about this, but as it hasn't been determined as to whether Apple has actually committed any crimes in investigating this. Apple claims that it doesn't use tax gimmicks, which seems to be what they're doing, but again, that is to be decided by the panel, and this raises questions as to whether the American tax code needs to be revised in order to accommodate the needs of multinational companies like Apple.
What went wrong? If I did, would it matter? 'Cause
recent suspicions have arisen that the oil companies have been fixing the oil prices. The European Commission fears that the oil companies have teamed up to distort the benchmark prices for crude oil products, such as biofuel and also biofuels. They say that any small distortions could have huge price implications for us, and so your oil prices and energy prices in general could skyrocket. The authorities have not really been forthcoming on what they're actually investigating, but they seem to be investigating the integrity of the benchmark prices of the big oil companies. The energy company Platts was one of their companies that has been raided recently, and they use the market on close method for setting prices. This is supposed to be a more reliable method, but recent claims have been that it's not so reliable, and they have in fact been fixing the prices. But Platts defends its method, saying that they are not aware that their prices are anything other than the market prices. And but Total, a French oil giant who hasn't been raided yet, has said that the benchmark prices were out of line with the underlying market, so somebody's lying.